Hey all, Peter Zeihan here, coming to you from Colorado. Now that Elon Musk is no longer part of the federal government, I think it's worth doing a little post-mortem on DOGE, that's the Department of Governmental Efficiency. Very short version is after the dramatic falling out between Musk and U.S. President Donald Trump over the last several days, the DOGE leadership has basically been gutted because most of these people were folks that were either already loyal to Musk or became loyal to Musk, and he's now taken them all out. So DOGE is in the process of a not-so-slow-motion collapse. So the question then is, what has been done to this point in terms of budget cutting? And the short answer is very, very little. According to the campaign pledges made by Mr. Musk last year, he would be able to cut $2 trillion out of the annual federal budget. By the time the election actually was over and we got inauguration, he said that number would actually be closer to $1 trillion, and that number kept getting scaled down and down and down and down and down, and the official number on the day that he left was $180 billion. Most people say it's closer to $150 billion, and the Congressional Budget Office says it's closer to $20 billion. Because the DOGE numbers neglected to include the things that the cabinet secretaries in the Trump administration had to do. You see, a lot of the things that the federal government does, really almost everything that the federal government does, is congressionally mandated and funded. So when you fire the people who are responsible for programs or try to close out programs, you then come against this legislative wall that mandated that money actually be spent on those things. And so to not go to prison, a lot of bureau heads and a lot of cabinet secretaries, going right up into Donald Trump's leadership core itself, was forced to actually rehire people or part-time contractors, in which some cases were the same people that had been fired, bring them back in. Well, once you add that cost back in, that's a total of $120 billion, which brings the entire savings to somewhere between $20 and $30 billion. Also, the Trump administration has finally submitted a bill to Congress to codify some of the cuts, and that slims it down to just $9.5 billion. So we have had a lot of drama and not much has changed. And if you just remember back a few days, the reason that, at least the proximate reason that we had such a falling out between Trump and Musk was because of the mega bill that is working its way through Congress that will include the budget. If it passes in its current form, it will increase the federal deficit by roughly $2.5 trillion over the next 4 years, and that's before you consider some changes that the Trump administration is considering making to things like Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, which will increase spending. And so we're looking in a conservative environment of additional deficit spending of around $800 billion a year at a starting point. That assumes no new funds for things like border security. That assumes no changes to the military budget. That assumes nothing of all the various spending programs that Donald Trump says he wants to engage in. Conservatively, we're really looking more realistically at $1 trillion deficit increase per year. Now, while that's not great, and obviously is a great example of the carpets not matching the drapes, I need to underline for everyone how hard it is to cut the federal budget, especially in the way that DOGE and Trump have attempted. You see, if you were to fire every single non-defense employee of the federal government, you'd only actually reduce federal spending by about 5%. There is no version of deficit control in the United States that is not centered on 4 things: defense, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That is well over 3/4 of the total. And if you're not willing to take a very, very deep gouge into those 4 programs, not one of them, all of them, we are not going to get anywhere near a balanced budget. So, before you say X is stupid or Y is wrong, keep in mind the core math. If we don't do this in a way that hurts a lot, it doesn't mean anything anyway.